now that we've finished foundationing the system, we're going to go ahead and connect that system up to the customer's network, and then go ahead and do the finish up the install process on Vsphere. So what we're going to do is first log into the Prism console. So we're going to log in for the first time. And the password here is admin. And it's going to go ahead and ask us for the new password. Go ahead and type in the new password. Go ahead and enter your name and company name, as well as your job title. Go ahead and accept agreements and hit accept. It's going to ask you to go ahead and enable Pulse. Let's go ahead and enable that. Pulse is the ability for the Nutanix block to go ahead and call home for itself whenever there's any critical issues. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is go and check into the storage page. So we're actually going to go into the storage. So by default, the foundation process will actually go ahead and create a storage pool and container first automatically. So we can actually go ahead and leave that storage pool name there or give it a new name. And you can see here that there's already a container in here as well too. I'm actually going to go ahead and delete this container and then create a new one for you. So I'm going to click on the container name, click on delete, click OK, and then we'll create a new container by clicking this plus container button at the top. And we'll give us a new name. Now it's automatically going to choose a storage pool for us automatically. And it's going to have this button here that says mount on all ESXi hosts. What that's going to do is actually mount that container as a NFS data store on all the ESX hosts for me in the cluster automatically. We can also go down to advanced settings here and check out the advanced settings. We have the ability to change the replication factor. Now, if we actually started this cluster with 5 or more nodes and set the foundation maximum replication factor level to 3, we're actually able to go ahead and change this from 2 to 3. But in this case, since we only have 3 nodes running, I only have the option for replication factor 2. We can also choose erasure coding if we want to turn erasure coding on or off. And I can give my reserve capacity or total advertised capacity. Now, reserve capacity is where we can actually go ahead and reserve a specific amount of capacity for this particular container. By default, all the containers are thin provision. And advertised capacity is we can set the maximum advertised space for that particular container. Otherwise, all containers actually see the same amount of free space. We also have the ability to turn on performance tier deduplication, as well as capacity tier deduplication. And we can also turn on compression as well too. Now we have the option of turn on compression, giving a value to the number of minutes. Giving that value will actually turn on post-process compression. And if we're actually going to do any type of VM migration, we can actually go ahead and enter the IP addresses of some of the legacy servers, so that way they can have access to the Nutanix NFS data stores. Once we're done, we can actually go ahead and click on Save. And this will go ahead and create a container and then mount that container as an NFS data store on all the ESX hosts for me automatically. All right, so the next step that we want to do is set the NTP server settings. So we go to the gear icon, click on NTP server. Here we can add the additional NTP servers as needed. Now we do need a functional NTP server for all the servers. Next would be the name server. So we'll click on the gear icon and click on name server. Here we enter additional DNS servers, if there are any. Click on close. Next, we want to configure the SMTP server. Here we actually use SMTP to send alerts out to both you, the customer, as well as our Nutanix support site. So go ahead and set the SMTP server settings, and if there are any authentication protocols or accounts, we can go ahead and set that here as well too. Next, we actually want to click on alerting, alert email configuration. This will actually set the who gets sent emails. By default, the Nutanix support account gets sent an email, and you go ahead and enter your own customer account as well too. Next, we actually want to go into set your licensing. So we'll go over to the gear icon, click on licensing. We can go ahead and click on manage licenses. Here we actually click on generate a cluster summary file. This will actually generate a cluster summary file, which you then go ahead and download to your desktop. At that point, you take that cluster summary file and log into the support portal, then go ahead and upload it to generate the file license. At that point, it'll actually generate another response file back, and we can go ahead and download that response file and upload it into the Nutanix system here. Next, if you're running Prism Central, we can actually go ahead and set the Prism Central settings. So if we click on the gear icon, click on Prism Central registration. Type in the hostname, username, password for Prism Central to actually go ahead and log into it. Next, we want to go ahead and set up Pulse. Now Pulse is, if you didn't set that up already in the very beginning, we can go ahead and set it up here. And again, Pulse is the ability for Nutanix to actually go ahead and call home and get give updates and alert our support department whenever critical issues occur with the Nutanix system itself. So we go ahead and click on the gear icon and click on Pulse, and we want to make sure that Pulse is enabled. You can also enter additional email recipients if you want to see what the Pulse program itself is sending over to our support department. And that takes care of setting up Vsphere on the Nutanix Prism interface. Next up, we'll actually go ahead and set up Nutanix on the vCenter interface.